Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling the ultimate dual challenge that pretty much every single modern professional faces right now. Because on one hand, you have to get eyes on your work. It's a crowded world out there. But on the other hand, you absolutely need to make sure you're getting exactly what you are legally owed for that work. So today we're bridging that gap between capturing digital attention and capturing your actual, real-world compensation. Let's dive right in.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start out on the fast-paced front stage with the 3-second battle and mastering video hooks. Then we'll pivot to the backstage of actual labor rights, covering the value of work, equal pay principles, navigating salary bonuses, and claiming your true worth.
Section 1. The 3-second battle. Now, if you spend any time at all on platforms like TikTok or Instagram, you already know the harsh reality of the scrolling reflex. Users are basically hypnotized, right? Just swiping through endless feeds. And this number right here is why breaking that trance is so incredibly difficult. 3. You have exactly 3 seconds to stop someone from swiping past your content. That's it. Your very first frame is your headline, and honestly, if it looks like everything else out there, they are already gone.
I absolutely love this quote from our sources. You don't get warm-up time. Your viewer decides either to watch or swipe. It's so true. The human brain processes visuals tens of thousands of times faster than text. What that means for you is that you have to demand an instant pattern interruption. If you're starting a clip with a slow breath, looking around, and giving a generic, "Hey guys," you have literally already lost the battle.
Section 2. Mastering video hooks. So how exactly do we win that tiny 3-second window? Well, we need tactical tools, and that starts with visual hooks. Consider this concept: starting the camera from a totally unexpected place just to create immediate cognitive tension. Take the bag hook, for instance. You start the camera inside a handbag and then pull it out. Or the fridge, filming from the inside looking out. It literally forces the scrolling thumb to stop because the brain instantly demands context. It's like a mini puzzle. Combine that with a really fast flash cut transition under half a second, and you inject this immediate sense of urgency.
But listen, a great visual hook needs a rock-solid verbal anchor to actually keep them there. These generally fall into 4 main types. The problem hook calls out a very specific pain point. The curiosity hook teases some kind of hidden insider info. Then there's the contrarian hook, which is my personal favorite, by the way, where you challenge a widely held belief. Something like, "Stop doing X, here's what actually works." And finally, the result hook, which leads directly with the massive outcome. All of these create an open loop in the viewer's brain that they just have to stick around to close.
Now, the real secret sauce here is how you test these. You don't just put one out there and guess. You write 3 to 5 different variations of your script. Ensure every single one of them takes under 3 seconds to actually say out loud. You've got to keep that visual frame totally active. Maybe use a fast zoom or some bold text over the video. Finally, you export them and test them against each other in your analytics to see which one actually holds watch time. Guys, this is literally the science of the attention economy.
Section 3. Pivot. The value of work.
All right, here's where we make a major pivot, and I want to dramatically slow down the pace for a second. We just talked about mastering the digital front stage, views, watch time, perfect hooks. But now, we need to shift to the backstage of actual labor. I'm talking base salary, legal bonuses, equal pay. Because think about it. Millions of views and the perfect visual hook mean absolutely nothing if you don't know your actual legal worth when the camera turns off. The metrics of the digital world, they do not pay your rent. The legal frameworks of the real world do.
Section 4. Equal pay principles.
Let's dive into the actual laws that govern your real-world value. We're going to look at some really progressive recent changes to the Moldovan Labor Code, specifically Law 107 of 2022. Historically, salaries were treated as this highly confidential, top-secret thing, which, let's be honest, conveniently hid massive pay gaps. But the era of salary secrecy is coming to an end. New regulations require employers to regularly inform their employees about average pay levels based on gender. You now have a legal right to know the actual financial landscape of your workplace.
And this brings us to a massively important legal definition: work of equal value. What this means is that you don't actually need to have the exact same job title as someone else to demand equal pay. If your job requires the same educational background, the same skills, effort, responsibility, and working conditions, it is considered of equal value under the law. This is a game changer because it ensures fair compensation across completely different roles.
And here's where the law really shows its teeth. 5%. If the gender pay gap in an organization exceeds this 5% threshold, without some kind of objective, gender-neutral justification, employers are legally obligated to fix the situation. The state can even step in and demand explanations. That is huge.
Section 5. Navigating salary bonuses. Okay, let's explore another totally critical area of your paycheck, legally mandated bonuses. These are known in Romania as sporu, and they're governed by Law 153/2017. The numbers here are absolutely crucial because this is literally money that people just leave on the table every single month. If you are working uncompensated overtime, that is a 75% bump to your base pay for those hours the very next month. Are you working on an uncompensated weekend or holiday? Boom, that's a 100% bonus. And there's even a mandated 15% bonus for workers with severe handicaps. You really need to know these baselines.
Let's zoom in on night shift rules for a second, specifically the 2200 to 0600 window. If you work at least 3 hours during this specific nighttime window, you are officially performing night work. The law entitles you to either a minimum 25% bonus for those hours or, and this is super interesting, a 1-hour reduction in your overall workday without losing a single cent of your base pay.
And honestly, there are even more legal bonuses available depending on your industry. Seniority or veteran can add anywhere between 5% and 25% to your base salary as the years go on. There are also specific bonuses for heavy conditions, nocive conditions, which means toxic stuff like working in industrial freezers or around radiation, or penable working conditions like waste collection. Now, in the private sector, you often have to actively negotiate for these, but using these exact legal frameworks as your baseline gives you incredible leverage in those conversations.
Section 6. Claiming your true worth.
So, let's bring the two halves of this explainer together. It is time to unite the digital marketer fighting for attention with the professional laborer fighting for their rightful paycheck. As our sources highlight regarding the incoming 2026 transparency updates, transparency means bonuses cannot be granted arbitrarily. Knowing the law removes the mystery from your paycheck. Just like you analyze data to see which visual hook works best on a social media feed, you have to analyze your labor contract against the law to ensure you are being compensated fairly and accurately.
Which leaves us with one final major thought to chew on. You now know the precise visual and verbal frameworks to capture someone's attention in exactly 3 seconds. You have the tools. But are you applying that exact same intense focus, that same rigorous methodology to capturing your full legal value when the cameras are off? Use the tools to get the eyes, for sure, but use the law to get what you are owed. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.